All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the interview. We're really excited about this. This has been a long time coming for the Avalanche community, the Avalanche community. The first IDO on Avalaunch is something that we've been really excited about, and everyone's been kind of waiting to see who it's going to be and what kind of stuff we're going to do. And it's been really great to announce you guys and see the reception and have people get excited about what we're doing. And I wanted to make sure that we took time to introduce you guys, get a sense of what you're building. People, can watch the video and learn about Yay Games, and I think why it's important because there's a lot happening with the project, and it's innovative and it's new, and sometimes these things can be hard to grasp. And a lot of the time, it's a really good idea to kind of get into it and hear it from the people that are building it. And a lot of times that doesn't come across necessarily in marketing and in AMAs and the traditional stuff that happens. So we like to really dig in with the team because you guys have a lot going on. So the first things first, we have Nick and G here from Yay Games. G is the CSO and Nick is the CEO of Yay Games, and I've gotten to know these guys pretty well. And very cool, talented guys with long histories in gaming and crypto, and just a lot of stuff going on. So before we get started, G, you want to kind of introduce yourself and who you are, and then Nick, you can go after that.
Sure. So first of all, thank you, Mark, for hosting this AMA. And we're also very excited to start collaborating with you and building on Avalanche. So about myself, I have graduated a bachelor's degree in business administration in Geneva, Switzerland. I have been interested in crypto for a long time, more than 10 years. At that time, 10 years ago, I didn't really participate or invest, but I was just observing, and I had a lot of admiration for what was happening. And then around 2015, 2016, I started buying Bitcoin. I started investing in few projects, and I really started understanding that this is something that is revolutionary in a way that makes easy payments in a decentralized manner, borderless, and that's how I started becoming interested in crypto. And I had a very kind of traditional education in finance and banking, especially Switzerland. It's one of the biggest capitals for the banking space, and they never actually taught me about crypto. And every time someone talks about crypto, it will be always negative. And I wanted to understand why. And after I just realized it's so much more useful than traditional money, and that actually fiat is completely broken. And the reason why I started working in crypto is just because I really see the potential. I believe in the technology, and I want to change people's lives. So I joined in the Coin team 2019, beginning of 2019. Indecoin is a fiat to crypto payment gateway, and currently we are one of the leaders for processing payments with Visa, MasterCard. And I started as a business developer. The company was pretty small, around like 10, 12 people. And then we started growing, getting more B2B partners. And today I'm the CEO at Indecoin, and we have more than 100 partners. Our team is currently more than 40 people, maybe even more than 50. And we just got so big, and we saw that we are really changing the space because we are helping newbies to onboard in crypto.
Yeah.
And that's like basically my main motivation to be here at both Yay Games and Indecoin, is that I see that my efforts I can see the result of my efforts. Basically, I can see that in real time we are changing people's lives. We are giving them the opportunity to start understanding this decentralized financial world. And it's in the end it brings them more freedom and less dependency on fiat currency. And me and my partner from Indacoin, we had been investing in a lot of DeFi projects. Therefore, we had an interest to create a new startup because, the business was growing. Our presence was not necessarily required at all times. And we saw there was a clear gap in the market when it came to gaming. It was last year, around November, that we started thinking about yay.games. And beginning of this year, we started developing the idea. And here we are today, and very excited.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, the DeFi, the gaming, the intersection of those two things, it's something that we're going to talk about, and I do think it all ties back to the conversation that, you're talking about adoption and how we get people into crypto and how that's kind of a gateway to actually just making a difference. And the gaming thing is actually, it's an interesting avenue into that. So I'll let Nick introduce himself. I think he's kind of more on the gaming side of things, at least in background. So Nick, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. So I want to build an exposure. So I will start from the early times when I become part of game dev.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, it happened since I worked for NVIDIA company. I became part of NVIDIA company in 2005, I guess, around 16 years ago or something like that. And at that time, I actually developed SLI profiles for the driver for unreleased video cards, and for unreleased games. And I worked there for a few years, and after that, I started IT management and consulting career in telecommunication industry and state companies. So I worked there for probably 7-8 years. Then in 2014, I started Create Games company. Currently, it's in top 3 publishing company in Russia and CIS. So I actually left the operational duties there, and from I think 2018, and I've been actively looking for promising crypto projects from that time, and trying to invest at the early stages. So as soon as guys from yay.games, they just launched their project, they asked me, do I want to be a part of this? And when I met them, I immediately realized that it was the ideal place, because it was the perfect match of crypto expertise and gaming expertise. So the guys from Indacoin, they actually have more in crypto, and I'm more expertise in gaming. So it starts, yeah.
Yeah, that expertise, that experience is important, whether we sort of like it or not. The crypto industry, the sector, creating projects, starting projects, it's tough, right? You have to be really pretty savvy, I think, at least in my experience, to be successful. And I see a lot of good ideas, good projects, good people, fail because they don't know how to navigate the industry. And so you could have this great project and sort of not have the right things in place to get people to see it, or get it in front of like the right users or whatever. And that's why one of the reasons I really liked the marriage of G's background with the fiat on ramps and this long experience in crypto, and then the real game development experience, because that's hard too. People think they can make games. Like everyone's like, I play games, I can make a game. Gaming is very it's an art form, and there's it's a hard thing to get right. And so I'm really excited about the combination of those two things. And that brings us to yay.games and the project and the IDO. And so we can get right into that. We have a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot going on here, and I want to talk about all of it. So just to get things started, what's Yay Games at the high level, and when you're looking at crypto gaming today, which is becoming very popular, starting to move really fast, a lot of cool ideas, what does Yay Games do or thinking about doing to be relevant and competitive in this really kind of fast moving industry now?
I think G can cover, or I. So
up to you guys.
Sure. So I can cover this question about Yay Games. As I explained before, the main reason why we started it was because we are business people, me and Stan, my partner, and we saw that there was a clear gap when it comes to gaming and DeFi, and that gap was not being explored. Like at that time, there was no hype at all in gaming, but we saw that in advance, and we wanted to explore that because even the utility of NFTs and if you just think of the whole gaming space in general, and the DeFi space, it's actually a perfect combination. And there are so many opportunities that, it's because it hasn't been developed, people cannot even visualize it. They cannot understand actually how big this can be. And about Yay Games itself, we wanted to do a marketplace, right? So the idea is that we are not focusing on a single game like most projects out there. Of course, I'm not saying that's bad, but if we want really to have a large audience, it makes sense to have different game categories. Have games that are, for example, when you are on the way somewhere and you just want on your phone to play some game. And there are more complex games where you have to spend some time, some energy, use some strategies with your brain. And initially, why we saw this opportunity with game mining features, play to earn, and so on, was actually based on the LP farming or yield farming that, many protocols were using lots of incentives for people to provide liquidity, but we didn't see the value. Okay, it's good that you increase your liquidity, but they were just giving away too much incentive for very easy and little work. And we saw that, because at that time there was huge hype about yield farming. Everyone was staking and providing liquidity on Uniswap, on Pancake, and so on. And we saw that actually people would be willing to do much more work to get maybe even less incentives. And they could be entertained while getting incentive, participate actually, not just provide liquidity, disappear and go somewhere. But with Yay Games, the idea is that you can earn crypto while you play games, but you also have fun, you interact with other people, you learn how to utilize different tools, how to mint NFTs, how to do all sorts of things. And in terms of like high level and vision, we aim to also become some kind of decentralized game publisher. So we have our in-house developed games, but we also are open to have other game developers and other decentralized gaming projects to basically be part of our marketplace and have instant access to our expertise, to funding, and to, of course, audience full of gamers. And we will help them to also implement game mining, because game mining, it really depends on the games. You cannot apply the same rules for every single game, right? So this is very complex, but we have the expertise, we have mathematicians, people who really have experience in building smart contracts and understand exactly what is like the perfect level of incentive for the amount of work or playing that is required for that. And ultimately, we aim to become a DAO where the community will actually be able to vote on decisions made by the company, and that it will be driven by the community, that all the projects, all the game mining, the tokens, and so on, will not be controlled by big holders, but rather diversified with many people, and that at some point even developers will be able to just be part of the ecosystem and develop on their own. So yeah, I mean, that's the overall general idea. And lastly, I mean, the main actually vision is to make, again, crypto more available, more accessible, and remove these entry barriers that when users go to centralized exchanges, they see all these complicated graphs, KYC, and it really makes it hard for them to understand how it works. So some of our games, like Bold Point game, we will go deeper later, but that specific game will allow users to also learn how the technology works. They will not have to invest any money upfront. So that really complements our vision, not just allow users to make a passive income stream, but to also make cryptocurrency mainstream. So that's actually the vision that we brought from InTheCoin is exactly the same for yay.games.
Yeah. There's a lot in there, and we'll certainly get into most of those pieces individually. But one of the things that stands out that I just really enjoy about the project is you're kind of marrying DeFi and gaming in some ways. And normally you would think that you're kind of leveraging DeFi to drive gaming forward. In a lot of ways you are. But you're also doing this thing where you're looking at things that are happening in DeFi and adding different kinds of incentives on top of that. So you're, in a way, like it goes both ways. You're driving DeFi forward in some ways as well, like new ways to incentivize users to provide liquidity, interact with incentives. And so I think it's pretty cool that it's kind of happening on both ends. Quickly, I want to just cover the team, right? Because we have G and Nick here today. Could you just tell me a little bit about the rest of the team and what you guys are kind of bringing, what the experience is? I think it's good to get a big picture of who yay.games is in totality.
Sure. So, I mean, you already know me and Nick.
Yep.
And then there is the co-founder. His name is Stan. So before, I mean, he's the founder of InTheCoin, and he founded it late 2013. So he's been in crypto for a while. Even before that, he was early Bitcoin investor, and he was also working in an investment fund. So he has a lot of experience, basically dealing with startups, investing in new projects. That was, his main career. And after he focused on InTheCoin, he still continued to invest in new projects. So he's currently co-founder and chief innovation officer, and he's a person that really can see ahead of things. He saw crypto was a thing when everyone thought it was a scam, in 2010, 2011. And he always knows what's the next big thing. And that's like his main role at yay.games, that he's forward thinking. So he doesn't really deal with day-to-day operations, but he's already thinking, what are we going to do in 2 years, in 3 years? And what technologies are going to be available by that time? So he's that kind of person that really can visualize what's going to happen in the future. Then we have our lead developer, Dennis. He's a very talented developer, full stack developer, more than 7 years of experience. He developed already 4 DeFi projects. He has his own team, which, I mean, is part of Yay team, and all of them are extremely skilled. So for instance, recently, some people were asking about BSC AVAX bridge, and everybody was saying, it will take 3 months, 6 months to develop such bridge. And then our developers say it will take us 5 days. So, I mean, we have this kind of power, and Dennis, I have no words to describe his skills. He's just really ahead of any other developers that I've met. I think Nick can discuss about Alex and Svetlana.
Yeah, we have really talented designer, Svetlana. So she did all these crazy identity, these crazy colors, green, poisoned colors. And
the branding's amazing.
Yeah, and when we asked her for, bring us more banners or something, she delivers it in a few hours, actually. Crazy performance. And our technical project manager, Alex, also had many years experience, like almost 10 years in a telecom company, Russian, Yandex, maybe you know, maybe not. It's like a Russian Google. So he worked there for 4 years. He brought many, methodologies and how to deal with the processes and how to grow company. Always when company is growing fast, there's many problems appears, like the processes should be equal to the company growth. So he managed all this stuff. And also, actually, we have 9 developers in the Danish team. So Solidity engineers, front end, back end. So it's extremely talented people.
And we also have Maria, our head of marketing. So she was also leading many marketing campaigns in 2017. There was the ICO hype. So she brings a lot of expertise in specifically crypto marketing, which is really great for us. And she just can manage any type of campaign. She's always available and she's very creative. So it's not just about experience, but the proactivity, the reactions, and everything just works well, smooth, and users love it. We have other people in our team, business developers, more IT people, and the community managers, of course, as well, some translators, and after we have other experts that are not completely part of the project, but they provide advice. For example, I mentioned that we had some mathematicians and so on who are helping us, to build the ideal farming, smart contracts, and so on. So
nice.
I want to mention some remote guys that actually initially from Terra blockchain, they consult us and advise us on DeFi, actually. So we want to bring DeFi into our marketplace. So we trying to receive everything from them. So from their expertise.
Yeah, it sounds like a big, broad, capable team. And I'm always interested in how teams kind of come together, because at least from my point of view, from the outside, there's this assumption that it's just like these guys or guys and girls that, know each other really well, and they're like working together and they've known each other for years or whatever. And a lot of times, it's these things that these different pieces that come together from all over and just kind of start working together really well over time, and that's certainly the case with Avalaunch, it takes an effort to refine these people and systems. And, it's just, it's always interesting to see how this stuff comes together for different folks. Cool. All right. Well, let's start talking about the games, the gaming, the industry. Blockchain gaming is a funny thing, right? Because crypto and blockchain have always been in some way, shape, or form synonymous. Gambling, this kind of thing. And there's been a arc, right? Back in the day, you had Bitcoin dice games and things like that. And then with the rise of, the smart contracts, you start seeing people get a little more creative, because why not? That's how this stuff happens. I remember back in the day, maybe 2017, 2018, like Funfair, in the state channels, and, the different new ways to batch this stuff into layer twos and things like that. And I'm just curious kind of how you guys look at the evolution of blockchain gaming, you know, where we started, where we're going, and more generally, you know, why build blockchain games? Like, this is more a question for you, Nick, as a game developer, right? Like, what's more interesting about blockchain gaming? Like, what's available here that's not available in more traditional gaming, and like, why is that worth your career and your attention?
So actually, in the blockchain, we can do such things that impossible to imagine in traditional gaming. For example, that DAO mechanics that we want to bring into our ballpoint game, when the community would be able to vote for changing the different aspects of their characters. Also the items. I mean, for example, let me bring an example from the traditional gaming. For example, World of Warcraft, you realize that Archer, or I don't know, Paladin is too strong for current meta, and you start winning in the forums just to bring the new patch with the new meta and etc. And we can allow to the people by holding our tokens, governance tokens, yay, to vote for the changes, and it would be community-driven changes, and the people can bring new metas into the gameplay. So this is, it can't be imagined before. So this is one example.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. And so, you know, what you're talking about is something that, like, you know, we talk about at Avalaunch a lot is, you know, is community and how they can actually shape the things. And with traditional games, you have obviously these large online communities that have a voice, right? Because people are trying to sell games and they want the game to reflect the interests of the people playing them. But when you're actually talking about a DAO structure, you know, and starting to layer in the you know, the rights of that we have in, you know, protocols, it really changes things pretty drastically. It's fascinating, really.
Yeah, actually, I can add one more thing. For example,
please.
Yeah, actually, in traditional games, the whole economy built only on, you know, in-game mechanics. So exchange of resources for the real assets, it's actually punished heavily by the gaming giants, you know, and the full decentralization, all the players to get the control of their resources. So they may like trade it for the real assets easily. So this is another point.
And so when we're actually talking about the rollout and the launch, what games are you guys launching with on the platform? You know, why did you choose to start with these? And, you know, what was like the thinking behind kind of making these like the first games?
So if we speak about the prediction games, I can answer this question.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so initially, when we were thinking about the project Yay Games, we wanted to have many different game categories, right? As I said before, we didn't want to be focused on a single game. And we saw that prediction games, similar to like binary options, were something that were started to being explored and started becoming popular. And you know, we saw that there was like opportunity there to develop different types of games, like this one that we have, BTC versus Ethereum, and we have Cardano up or down prediction as well. So these are games that, you know, you haven't really seen before in other dApps. So the main reason why we started with that was because of the demand that there can potentially be, and also it was something that we can quickly develop and basically have already some games before the actual launch, which we thought important, you know, before we launch, to have a ready product that is, you know, people can already use. Then for the next games, it was actually when we onboarded Nick as our CEO. So I think Nick can give more details about those.
Yeah, so if we accept the ballpoint and the direction where we're going with it, so we plan to present small casual games with simple game mining mechanics in them, just like a Flappy Bird or something like this. And it brings us to explaining about the game mining actually. So we trying to present those games that would be easily present play to earn model. So for such games, we preparing an achievement systems that is actually the ground for the loyalty program for the for the users. And this loyalty program based on actually yay drops. So how it works? For example, there would be different achievements cards in the player profile related to each game. For example, for Flappy Bird, it could be easily, or for Tetris or any game, you just need to win 10 games in a row, or like get 1,000 points or something like this. So it could be easily developed. And many achievements can be achieved daily or weekly on a monthly basis. So you may really mine these airdrops. And for these small games, it would be also easily to make 1 hour sessions where all the people start playing at the same time, and who won or who received the most amount of points, top 3 or top 10 players, they will receive the airdrop. So it's really easy to implement, and that's why we are looking now for small games, or that we can just buy the license, or the small development teams that can provide us these small games, and we will present them on our marketplace. So
right. Yeah, and that's like one of the pieces that makes this feel really big is you guys obviously you have this vision for your own games, but then you also have this vision for the marketplace where you can bring in other games, but then you also, like you talked about earlier, want to sort of mentor and show these other game developers kind of the mechanics that you guys are working on, how they can work in their games, and it's just this great kind of really big network. That's very cool. So I do want to talk about the mining mechanics just a little bit more in detail because we've covered it some, but I am interested in the the NFT components of the games right now, because NFTs, NFT sets, gamings like Axie Infinity, the battle NFTs, and horse racing, and there's all sorts of stuff happening with NFTs and gamings right now. And so I know people are going to be interested in how Yay thinks about this, what they can expect to see in terms of NFTs, and what maybe things that you guys think would be cool down the road. Just how you see the place of NFTs in the gaming industry and in Yay Games specifically.
Okay, actually, I may start, and G, I think you will add. So for NFTs, so as I mentioned, probably in the ballpoint, the character itself would be NFT, and all the in-game items will be also NFTs. And we will actually we'll launch the game in December, but there would be something like MVP early October when we plan launch NFT marketplace, and a few simple mechanics to mine these NFTs to immediately to sell or trade in the NFT marketplace. For example, one of the mechanics that would be one of the dozens mechanics presented in ballpoint, but in October we want to show it to the audience. It would be Wheel of Luck. So you need to burn yay tokens. Later, when the ballpoint will release its own token, we need to burn the pair BPT and yay, but in October it will be only yay. So you're burning tokens, and you can spin the Wheel of Luck and 100% win NFT, and with some small chance you may win like an epic item or a rare item or something like that. So you may store it and use it in the game release. So you may equip it on yourself. Also, linked to this mechanic, we plan to release like in second quarter of the next year the feature that allow you to try the equipment on yourself in VR and AR also. So yeah, this is for my part, and I think G can proceed.
Yeah, so from my side, I mean, this is really a fascinating idea that you build your own character in the game, and that can actually reflect yourself. So you can make the character look like you. You can, change the color, the hair, the eyes, put some tattoos, whatever you want. And this character, which is a representation of yourself, is some kind of hero in this NFT RPG game, where you have, different modes for playing. So you can battle with other players, and by battling, you can, for instance, not just earn tokens, but earn also other game items, NFTs, and so on. And after with tokens, you can generate more items by burning them. So you can craft, special swords or whatever you want, and improve your character over time. And then, by improving your character, you also have the opportunity in the future to sell it on the NFT marketplace. So this is, like a real investment as well. It's not just you are playing for fun and earning, but for long term, if your character becomes really powerful, loads of experience, this can become like those NFTs that are extremely rare, worth millions of dollars. So the same can happen with Bolt Point, and it's very likely because we cannot reveal so many details right now, but at least, like, my personal opinion, just the game mechanics are mind-blowing. The things that they are working on, because this game has been under development now for more than 7 months, and the guys are working really hard for it, and also
even at nights.
Yeah, all night working.
I hope so.
Yeah. And also what I really like about this game is that there are no entry barriers. So of course, like, if you want to play and have a very good, strong character, you can invest more money, have more coins, hold more yay, and that will help you to be stronger, have special features and so on. But if you don't have the capital, you may just mint your character as in form of NFT, and you can gain experience without any investment. So you can battle. You can also play against the computer, right? So that will also help your character grow. So unlike other games, which you mentioned, Mark, we don't require any upfront investment. Therefore, it's open for everybody. And besides, we also, in addition to this, we offer a side chain within the game. So the game will basically work in 2 blockchains at the same time. And on the side chain, it's basically for people who are completely newbies in crypto. They know nothing about crypto. So it will be kind of similar to testnet. So they will instantly have some tokens on their wallet. There will be tutorials, how to mint your character, how to send coins, how to receive. Basically, this other part of the game will onboard new users into crypto in a very friendly way that, they don't need to read, they don't need to watch videos, be updated with what's going with the market. They will learn by actually playing and trying by themselves.
And I also want to add that you may actually using this sidechain technology, it's like our innovation actually. You may transfer assets to mainnet and vice versa. And when, for example, you don't have the funds and you want to try the game, you don't want to pay, and you like playing for a lot of time and you have the progress and you want to bring your character to the mainnet. So at that point, you need to pay for all your NFTs you won from the battles. Only on that point, and then you may start to use play to earn mechanic in the mainnet. So
right. Wow, that's very cool. So there's the side channel where a lot of like the smaller transactions are taking place. It's affordable or even free at some points, and only when they want to realize that on a mainnet is someone asked to pay.
Yeah, right.
That's very cool. Yeah, the adoption stuff, the education piece, that's kind of how it has to happen, in my opinion. I have a lot of people always asking me, how do I do this in DeFi? How do I learn? And a lot of time the answer is just do it. Like, if you're not curious, if you don't know how to just get in there and get your hands dirty, like, probably not for you. You know what I mean? So with the gaming stuff, it strikes me as a really nice way to get people exposed to crypto in a way that feels fun and safe. So a lot of people are like, just terrified of this stuff, and sometimes rightly so. So yeah, I love it. I love that educational piece and that exposure component. And we've talked a little bit about the in-game mining mechanics, and I think we've covered a lot of it. But I know there's a few categories of mining mechanics, like the tournament mining and the social mining, and the in-game mining, which I think encompasses a lot of those things. So I was just hoping that we could just quickly outline what those things are, and just how we might expect to see them in the games, because I think that conceptually is one of the things that makes Yay Games special and worth highlighting.
Sure. So about the very basic game mining mechanics. Would be, the Yay as the governance token would be a token where you can earn in basically any game of the marketplace, and it could work as, for example, a ticket to participate in a tournament, and then the tournament itself will also have rewards in Yay token, and it could also be in other tokens. Then, as we mentioned before, it can be used to also purchase in-game items to improve your character and therefore also earn within those battles. Then, it can be earned by number of games played, like Nick was mentioning in those casual games, that there will be different ways where users can just earn Yay by having simple achievements, small kind of 1 hour tournaments, and there is also the ranking. So for example, if you have certain number of points that you earned during several games, let's say, for example, if you're in the top 10, you may earn 500 tokens per day. So this is kind of a way that is very similar to LP farming, but just applied to gaming, where your ranking gives you a certain amount of tokens every day. So you have to keep your ranking in order to maintain your number of tokens. But we have to think how to make it sustainable, right? So that will work with single asset staking, which will be Yay. So basically there will be different tiers for staking Yay. And if you don't stake any Yay, of course you can still earn, but it won't be so much. You'll have to play much more than other people. But if you stake Yay, especially for long periods of time, you basically gain access to much more benefits. So you have the ability to also mine crypto in different ways, and also have higher incentives, and at the same time you are also earning APY or APR on your stake. So that's also like an interesting component, and I think Nick can give more details about the other game mining mechanics.
Cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak more about the tournaments, as they are also game mining mechanics. So actually we will have two types of tournaments, and one of them, really don't know to reveal right now because we are preparing how gaming tournaments would be applicable to ballpoint game. So that would be a really interesting mechanics in it. But for the simple games, yeah, how, as I mentioned before, it will be how in our sessions they will be created, and within each session the player with the highest score will proceed. And the difference between the regular sessions that in regular players will receive an airdrops, but here they will proceed to the next round of the tournament bracket actually. So it's easier to apply the tournament's idea to the simple casual games. So I think we will conduct them every, I think, week or and every period we decide.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome, you know, and I want to get into kind of Avalanche and how I think it supports this type of building in a little bit. But before that, I just want to quickly address the marketplace, because I know that you guys are going to be supporting other game developers, and I think it's important to kind of unpack how this is good for the Yay token, the Yay economy, you know, the Yay community, right? Because as soon as you start bringing in other projects with other teams and other communities, the network starts to grow really big, really quickly. And I think it would be good to kind of just talk about why you guys think the marketplace is important and what people can expect from it.
Actually, I also can start and G can proceed further.
Cool.
So actually, previously as a major publisher, as a Create Games, we have developed really large pool of partners in the gaming industry. So we now already start to connect with many development teams that can potentially bring their games into the marketplace. So the main benefit of that we actually increasing the token utility, because we will implement this token into each game that we will present on the market. So that's the main idea. So and G can.
Yeah, so you know what happens is that Yay token, every time there is a new game, there will be additional utility for Yay. So for instance, for Bolt Point, the utility for Yay is quite different than with the casual games and with the prediction games. So with Bolt Point Yay, we'll also have deflationary mechanics by burning Yay, and that basically creates less supply. Therefore, you know, it can potentially create a price increase in the future, higher valuation. You know, it's just supply and demand law. It's very simple economics. And other games will also have burning mechanics. So the more Yay is being burned, the more valuable it becomes. That's the first one. Then the loyalty program is very important component of our games. So the more Yay you are staking, the more benefits you get for all the games. So whatever developer published in our marketplace, that game is going to be basically users are going to have higher rewards if they are staking the governance token itself. So the token is always growing over time. Utilities and game mining mechanics will be different, will vary from game to game. And because of that, we see the value of adding new developers, because they will not just help us to have a wider range of games, but they will also help Yay itself to grow, and the whole marketplace will have you know, bigger audience, and it's in the end it's a win-win situation, because we provide them the tools, they provide us the games, and in the end, you know, everybody is satisfied and the users are satisfied. And you know, something that I didn't mention before, but I think it's really something to think about, is that these things that we are building, and if we see example of Axie Infinity, you know, people are quitting their jobs for this stuff. They are playing games, and that's their main source of income, especially in developing countries. And for me, I think that's a direction that it's going to be more popular over time. And if we further develop it, it really gives the ability for anybody to earn passive income, because we estimated, we made a lot of research in the market before we started, and more than 60% of people in the whole world play games every week. And this is just statistics, it's just a fact. And they don't earn anything. They actually lose money. And because they are spending money, but they don't earn anything back. They are being bombed with ads that are messing their brains and changing their decision-making process. And and they are being basically controlled by these big corporations who are just taking their money and putting ads everywhere, making them buy more stuff that is completely useless. So what we are doing is something that can really change the world in a way. But this is something that people cannot see right now. I think it's too early stage and it hasn't been developed at all. But, imagine like almost half of the population starts playing these kind of games, decentralized games, and they can earn real money. They can own all their actual purchases within the games. They can sell it, they can trade it, they can do whatever they want. And, in developing countries, for them, at least in the beginning, might be their main source of income. And that will not just change people's lives, but it will make them it will give them more freedom and ability to also improve their life, improve their children's life. And that's really what fascinates me about this, because, it's not just about the game mining and, the games itself, but about how this will actually impact the world and society.
Yeah, absolutely true. And I just want to add that to make it possible, all the list that now G mentioned, all these nice things, actually, there's a key to that. The technological key is actually Avalanche. That's why our team drawn into the platform, because we investigated with which chain we can go, where we can the most advantage of the speed, high security, low transaction cost, all this stuff. And actually our marketplace, it's a complex thing, and it requires really really cohesive, sustainable technologies behind it. So I think, I just wanted to tell this kind of thing.
And there is also the decentralization part of Avalanche.
Of course,
right.
This is very important aspect, because there are many blockchains out there that are not really decentralized, and there are also many security concerns. So we saw with the Avalanche that it's something that I haven't really seen so far, a lot of development in this direction. So we also saw the opportunity that we can show people not just about crypto and DeFi technology, but also show them about Avalanche, show that this is great technology that is superior to lots of technologies that are currently in the market. And
one funny thing, I'm sorry to interrupting, that our developers becomes fanboys of technologies. I just spoke with them today, and they're really excited of what they're dealing with.
Yeah, and that's you're certainly preaching to the choir here. At Avalaunch, this is what we're about. This is why we aren't focusing on other chains and other ecosystems, although we support everything. We just like good building energy all over crypto, but our efforts are solely focused on Avalanche, and that's for a reason, right? That's where we want to be building. That's where we see the potential, and that's one of the things I really liked about you guys, is because it's pretty easy, I think, to make the mistake when you're looking at games to say, oh, this is just a game. It's a game, right? But there's principles underlying what you guys are building about, making a difference, changing people's lives, building in this way, thinking about why decentralization is important and seeing the values of it. And ultimately, that's why I think that you guys were right for Avalaunch, because I think you guys are also the team. These are big, lofty goals for sure. But I think you guys are the team that are actually capable of achieving these kinds of things and moving gaming in a good direction and building for the right reasons. And that's why I think our community is gonna really benefit from participating in the Yay ecosystem.
Absolutely agree. Maybe G, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually early AVAX investor, and I was already using the technology before, and I was really impressed by it, like because at that time I was mostly using Uniswap for trading, and it was a huge difference. Of course, like if you compare to BSC, the
Yeah.
difference is not so big, but like if you come from Ethereum background, it's unbelievable speed. And
Yeah,
I was just, every time I make a transaction, I'm smiling because
I know.
it's really fun. Like instantly your funds are there, the trades are done. It's almost faster than sex
Yep.
exchanges. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it feels like magic.
yeah,
And you guys are also building on some of the game, at least on BSC, and I think that can be a good thing, honestly. We have lots of projects coming to Avalaunch that are solely building on Avalanche and just leveraging this chain fully. But that's also not the complete picture of the world we live in as it relates to crypto. There are good reasons to be in other ecosystems, at least for now, that relate to users and adoption. And just, I think, lifting everyone up is just generally good. And so I'm wondering how, being on BSC and also being on Avalanche benefits the games, benefits the project, and how you guys kind of think about being both places, because this is a real challenge for a lot of projects. A lot of projects see a need to be in various ecosystems, and again, for good reason, but it presents technical challenges, it presents marketing challenges, community challenges. And I'm wondering how you guys are managing this, thinking about this, and just approaching it in general.
yeah. So, in the beginning, we were really considering Ethereum to be the main blockchain for the game. But, it was before when the gas fees were actually normal. It was not so expensive, but still it was too slow. And, although it's secure and somehow you can argue that it's decentralized as well, it was not so convenient, especially if you are dealing with games. If you have to wait, up to 5 minutes or 15 minutes to complete a transaction, or sometimes even longer, it just becomes pointless, basically, to play games if you have to wait so long to complete actions. So we looked into BSC. The main reasons, of course, they're obvious because of low fees, fast transactions. But the main reason actually was because of the community. It was exactly at the time that the community was building and lots of projects, and it was growing extremely fast. So again, we are business people, me and my co-founder, and we saw an opportunity in a business perspective, not just in terms of technology, that we can attract all this community towards us, and that will be beneficial for the project. And the community is growing very quickly. It's also easy to integrate with MetaMask, and there are many other wallets like Trust Wallet, Coin98, and so on that support BSC. So the entry barriers are quite low. I would say even lower than Ethereum, because there is also much more information about it right now. It's very accessible, and it just became a really big community very quickly. But then with Avalanche, there is a different type of people, because we've been now, our community is, I think, more than 90% BSC people. And these are people that they don't think so much. They just see something that smells like profitable, and they just ape into it. and they don't, like, for example, we see in our Telegram group, let's say someone asks a question, and then our community manager answers the question, and then someone asks again the same question, but they didn't even care to read the previous message, which there was already the answer, or read like the pinned messages where everything is explained. So we see like these people, they are more like looking for profits. I wouldn't say they are like long-term holders. Of course, many of them actually want to play the games and stuff. But I see more like people just want to make a quick profit. They don't make any research. And that's kind of the overall feeling that I have from this community. You know, I love my community. It's amazing. Like, they are very supportive and they're always there for us. But sometimes I question their decision-making process because even there were loads of scams that pretended to be yay.games. And we estimate that so far our community has lost more than $100,000 in few days from those scams. And, you know, it will be quite easy to avoid that, but because they just were so hyped about our token, they just saw an opportunity to buy and they just went for it. Without questioning, you know, without having any critical thinking. So that upsets me, you know, because in the end they are the victims, and although we are not responsible, we somehow feel responsible.
Sure.
But what I see with AVAX community, of course, I haven't had so much interaction because we don't have so many AVAX users right now, as it's like a new direction, new partnership. But from my experience, these are people that really take their time. They make their research, they're critical, and they're there for the long term. So they love technology. They don't care. Like, I really see people, they don't care about profit. I see, for example, I have very good relations with the Relay chain, more specifically with Graham. So we work together at InTheCoin. And, you know, I was really fascinated how he speaks about Avalanche. You know, he's really passionate about the technology, and his community, although it's not extremely big, they are extremely loyal. And even when the price went down, more people were actually trying to buy more to support the project, and they were trying not to dump. And, you know, I see that like Avalanche people, you know, I would say maybe they are more technical people, maybe they have different education backgrounds, and they are not as big as other blockchains, but certainly, you know, they have a lot of knowledge and they're very supportive. So we see like our games will work in the two blockchains, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there needs to be an exchange between the two blockchains. Actually, people can just play on Avalanche, people can just play on BSC. It's completely up to them. I think it's different audience in the end of the day. It's just for us, by doing cross-chain, we can attract both audiences into our platform. So from the business perspective, that makes complete sense. But for example, I wouldn't say it makes a lot of sense transferring your yay BSC to yay AVAX. Technically, it doesn't make so much sense to do it. So, you know, it's not about making bridges and stuff, although we are working on it and there will be bridges. But really, I think these communities can work independently. And in a way, I think we will also educate BSC community about Avalanche, because very few people know about it. Even if they know it, they never actually used it. So we will also bring more adoption to Avalanche by doing this cross-chain within our games.
I actually want to add that I want to thank our communities because G mentioned that the big portion of people just following the price and trying to get easy money and doesn't care about the products. But I think from my, I'm watching for the communities, our Chinese community, Turkish community, the main chat, and actually there is a lot of people from that are using BSC or newcomers from Avalanche that are really interested in our products, and they have this game-oriented mindset. So they're asking questions that I really, sometimes it's surprising for me, because they're asking very deep game-related mechanics questions. So our community is really smart. So I can't compare with other communities, because as I mentioned, I really I participated in many crypto projects as an investor, and always I'm looking for I'm watching precisely for the mood of the community. How do they want to act, and what do they pursue? And I can say that our community is really smart and really product oriented than money oriented in the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think
lots of people. Sorry, Mark. I just want
That's
to
okay.
finalize. We have like lots of people that they are true believers of the project, and that's not
Right.
about being like smart or anything. It's just they see that we are making efforts, and they even like send, you know, this is like one of the things that really gives me motivation to continue, and you know, to work additional hours and so on. That people text me directly, they say, man, you are building something amazing, I love your projects, I will be with you forever, you know, you can ask me anything, I will do for you. And you know, it really touches my heart that people, they really not just thinking about profit, but also they just see that the team is putting efforts to build something new, innovative, and they want to be part of it. And you know, they even, people volunteer to work for us. You know, for example, our Chinese community, more than 50 people volunteer to be community managers, and they don't expect any payments. They just love the project, and of course they would like to have some, for example, IDO spots or something like that, but they don't ask, or they don't want any kind of salary whatsoever. And our community is full of such people that just want to support the project for the long run.
Yeah, it's that, as like a founder in crypto, like that's always the most gratifying part, you know, because you get everything. You get people that are just there for money, and you know, because this is crypto, and you know, it's wild, and there's a lot of weird stuff happening. And then with the good projects that are here for the right reasons, what you'll see represented a lot of the time is just more of the kind of people that you're talking about. You'll always have both. There's no way to avoid it. But you know, we have like people in our community that, you know, the same, they really believe in the project, and like what we're doing, and want to help. And that's always so flattering, and so like special, really, because you put so much of yourself into this stuff. You work so hard. You know, things can go wrong, things can go right. But then when you realize that you're actually like having an effect on people, and people enjoy what you're doing, it's the best feeling in the world. And I think that's why a lot of people like us do this
You're
stuff.
right.
Yeah. And the Avalanche community is unique. You know, they are very they're smart, they're analytical, they understand crypto. You know, it reminds me, you know, a lot of like maybe the early Ethereum community. You know, I'm hearing that comparison more these days. And you know, that's why I think, you know, this type of conversation is important, right? Because our Avalaunch community, the Avalanche community, like they want to know what you guys are doing. Like they don't want to just, you know, ape into it. They want to say, like, what are these guys building? Where is the value? And I think those are important questions, you know. And so you know, that's why this interview is important, because you guys do have a lot going on. And it's, you know, not so obvious when you hear, oh, yay games, it's a game. It's just, there's a lot more happening here. And that's the magic and the beauty of crypto, right? Is kind of what lurks underneath, I think. And so, you know, I know that you guys will be well received by the Avalanche community. And you know, originally Avalaunch, right? This is an Avalanche launchpad. In my original conception of this thing, ideal was like, of course, we only deal with Avalanche projects, right? But you know, as time goes on, and you know, you make an honest assessment of things. And right now, multi-chain is important to do too. I don't know what, you know, Avalaunch will look like in a year. Maybe it will only be Avalanche projects. I don't know. We have plenty of those coming, but like you said, we're business people and we're interested in growing Avalanche. And right now, I think it's important to be doing both. So, I have no issue with projects that are, developing in other ecosystems and, exploring Avalanche and, maybe not even fully committed. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want good people, good teams, building in general. This isn't necessarily a commentary on Yay Games. It's just kind of how we look at it. And so I can really appreciate your guys' perspective on this. I wanna cover before we end, because this has been a good conversation quickly. Two things. I want to cover the Yay token, its utility specifically, and then I also want to talk a little bit about Bold Point, what you can talk about with Bold Point, because it's pretty exciting stuff. So can we just talk about the Yay token, kind of what that's about, and then maybe Bold Point and how the token might interact with that game as well. And then we can kind of wrap it up after that.
Sure, I think I can cover the parts about Yay token. I mean, during this discussion, we've already covered, I think, all those points, but I think to summarize,
sure,
can just put it in simple way. So Yay token is the governance token of the Yay Games marketplace, meaning that it's the main currency. It's, for example, for Avalanche DEXs, AVAX is the main token, or for Uniswap, Uni is the main token. So for us, it's the same. Yay is the governance token. It can be used as a reward when playing games. So we already discussed all the game mining mechanics where you can earn Yay. It can be used as an entry access to games and tournaments. So there may be also some games. For example, if you want to unlock some features, you must hold certain amount of Yay. And for some tournaments, you also need to have certain tier for the Yay staking loyalty program. Yay can be used to also purchase in-game items, improving your characters. It can be burned within the games. And to be more, to go in more details about the utility within the staking, will allow users to stake Yay. They will have the option to just stake and earn APY, and that will also allow them to have higher rewards. But there will be the option as well that they can actually lock their stake for a certain period of time. And by locking, let's say, for 6 months or 1 year or even longer, they will have higher benefits, and there might even be some kind of surprise. So if you lock for 1 year, you, for example, mint some special NFT that is, for example, a hero in Bold Point, or some kind of special feature that you can get. So we'll have like innovative ways of staking combined with loyalty program that combined will be completely synchronized with the games. Then, of course, Yay can be used for simple stuff like making transactions, providing liquidity that everybody knows. Then there is the DAO. So as we discussed before, token holders will be able to vote for the decisions of the DAO and understand what should be the direction, which projects should be onboarded, and so on. So to conclude, there are, I think, in the short term and mid-term, already quite a lot of utility for Yay. And every time there will be more games, there will be even more utility. And as we said, like, the game mining mechanics will vary from game to game. So we want to take a personalized approach for each game and not just apply the same for all of them. So each game will have a real serious team thinking about what will be the most optimal way for users to earn with this type of game. And that will be beneficial for the user, but also will not affect the token in a bad way, meaning that there will not be way too much rewards that will not sustain basically the price. So that's how we think that we want to have an asset that can grow over time, become more valuable, become more scarce. Therefore, ultimately, we see that Yay as a token that has more benefits to hold for long term, it can become some kind of, let's say, investment slash savings account, because it's just the mechanics that we use are really thinking in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years. So we are not thinking about quick profits. We are just thinking how to make the token sustainable for the long term. Therefore, that will make sense. Of course, it will be nice if Yay would be used in different marketplaces for games where people can actually use it to purchase games. So just an example, for example, Steam or any other gaming markets. That will be nice if one day it happens, and I'm sure it's not impossible. So in general, we just want to bring more utility to Yay and make it more widely available to everyone.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to see that yay.games Steam partnership for sure.
Yeah.
And Bold Point, this is an upcoming game. I think one of the things that is the foundational parts of the project at this point. And would love to just hear what you can say about it. I know it's still in development and there's some things that are kind of secret, but
Right.
I know our community would like to hear more.
Okay, so as I mentioned, the Bold Point is an NFT-based role-playing game that offers competitive experience in the first way, and it's designed to build a character and bring it through the number of battles against the other players. It's more about the PvP and the computer opponents at PvE. And it's also, I just want to reveal, probably we already mentioned it somewhere, but I think many people didn't know about it. So there's a possibility to wage bets when you play against other players. So it will be like a gold PvP regime. And it's possible to earn really valuable rewards during this. And beyond this, the character actually will have, not have, but there's an ability to improve with each victory. So you may not only receive some rewards that you can also trade on the NFT marketplace, but you become stronger, your character becomes more valuable, and actually any loot that represented in the game is a unique tokens that can be bought, sold, traded in our NFT marketplace. So there's a really big utilization of anything in the game. And also, as we mentioned, we are aiming to bring down the adoption barriers. So you don't need to pay as our concurrent games. So you don't need to pay to start, to learn, to be on board, to get through the onboarding process. So we also allow people to use this sidechain technology. So yeah, in general, this is an overview of the Bold Point game.
Yeah. I can't wait to see more about that. Excited for that to start being unveiled.
Just some closing thoughts.
Sure.
Because of Bold Point complexity, it's not like a traditional game in any way. That there is actually, although you can argue that Axie Infinity could be a competitor, in the other hand, it might not be a competitor at all, because the game will work very differently. There will be much more features, and they are so different and complex. And because of that, there will actually be a Bold Point token. And this is something to think about, that, we already have Yay, but we understood by our research and also calculations that this game requires its own token. And we are planning to also host a token sale and IDO and so on around December, January, by the time we release the game. So this is also something huge. We already have thousands of people who are on the wait list for this.
I believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's also something I'm very looking forward to see further development of the token itself of that game.
Yeah.
Because we have the marketplace, and then within the marketplace we have a game, and within the
Yeah.
game there is a token.
Right.
So I think it's like something that will be quite unique and very interesting to see how it plays out.
For sure. And since the Yay token is involved, the utility of that is involved in the marketplace and really games on the marketplace, indirectly that bold point token will still, the popularity of that game, will still trickle down to Yay holders and the Yay community, I assume.
Yeah, and the thing is that it's really hard to understand what can happen, but
Yeah.
there is even a chance that bold points in a way could become bigger than Yay itself, because if we just compare with Axie Infinity is a multi-billion-dollar market capitalization.
Yeah.
And if we assume that this game is equally good or maybe even better, and it has its own token, right? So potentially there is possibility that the token itself could become bigger than Yay, and it's also very interesting to think in that direction. It's very hard to really know what's going to happen. But in any case, the success of Yay and success of both points will benefit both tokens directly or indirectly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I want to add, sorry, Mark, that Yay Marketplace is all about the great business model, actually, but
Yeah.
the bold point is all about the great product. So
Yeah, I mean that's the power of the marketplace is you want big games, maybe bigger than Yay, right? And in that marketplace, that's the real power of that network. So it would be real good news. Well, cool. This has been great. The last question I have for you guys, and this is kind of like a big picture thing, right? Is 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. Yay Games is successful. It's you guys have executed on the vision. You're totally happy with how it went, as best you can sort of guess, right, or dream. What does the project look like at that point? What does the ecosystem of Yay look like?
I can say from my perspective.
Sure.
So for me, it's a first big publishing company for decentralized games. So we become an incubator, and we can start as a really like a fundamental advisor for all game development teams. So they wanted to bring us their games to be presented on our marketplace. So this is my view of the product in a few years from now.
Nice.
Yeah, and I agree with Nick. So this is the direction that we are aiming for, but at the same time we don't want to stagnate. So we are always looking into new technologies, and we are really looking into VR as well. So even before we started the project, when we were doing research, we already even almost investing in VR teams that already have MVPs and developing VR products, because we see this is also the direction the market is going. If you think, for example, when VR goggles or glasses become more available, more like cheaper, and if there are really interesting games to play with very good quality graphs and so on, but at the same time you are like in a metaverse, completely decentralized, and I don't know, I think it will be interesting if the marketplace itself also has that VR component, that you could, for example, jump from game to game with some kind of portal, and play the game yourself. You are the character, you are the hero in bold point, and I think that will be really cool. And it's also the idea of the DAO, that the community will be participating actively on every single thing that is happening, and developers, everything can be open source at some point, and developers can participate and also propose their own ideas to improve the marketplace, the games. And ultimately, this is something we discussed a few times, that we could maybe not yay.games itself, but maybe our team become some kind of organization for decentralized games, that there will be some kind of alliance between all the games. Because, in the end of the day, like, there is actually no sense in a way to compete with others. Why would you compete? Like, they have their audience, we have our audience, but that doesn't mean that they only play their game or they only play our game. It's not like football, that if you support your team, you cannot go to the other team and support them. So we are in a business where people can play all the games they like. If they want to play their games, they can play their games. They can play our games as well. So, if we form some kind of alliance all together, we could, bring all the games in one place, or just somehow like share knowledge base in one place, and just become some kind of one huge organization that aggregates all the projects in one. And you can access it directly there, or you can access it from the other projects. And there could be also decisions. For example, there could be a fund where we decide, okay, maybe we should invest in this direction, maybe invest in a new technology that can help the games, maybe, innovative ways for users to be more sustainable with their earnings, or there are so many things that can happen. We don't know the future, but that will be, kind of very far away kind of thinking, that it will be really cool to see.
I'm excited. I think you guys are gonna break this industry wide open. I'm super excited for what you guys are building and planning. It's a great addition to our community. Thank you for your time. It's been almost 2 hours here. I feel like we probably could have done this for another hour. You guys have a lot going on. But I think this really represents you guys well, and what you're doing. I'm super excited for the sale, and we'll do it again, and we'll do part 2 in 6 months. You know what I mean? And the Avalanche community, I think, is always going to be behind you guys and what you're building. So this is, I think, the start of a long relationship between the two communities, and that's the way that we like to run things. So thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, and thank you, Avalanche community, as well, for the time with us today.
We're very excited to start.
Yeah, so are we. It's going to be good. All right. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. This has been yay.games, Nick and G, and thanks for listening. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.